So there I was, 25 years old, sitting back, regretting the loss of my first great love. And that's what this will be about. I decided to write some things down to ensure that I was not rambling. Taking a look at my previous videos, I didn't really like the way that they flowed. I figured I do still want it to be authentic and off the cuff, no cuts, no edits, but I need to be cohesive and deliver a point. So the next series of videos will be on the 3 great loves. For anybody that doesn't understand that concept or doesn't know about it, pretty much there's a saying that in life you get 3 great loves. Your first great love, that's the one that you experience usually when you're young, when you're first coming up, your first real girlfriend, maybe the person, that you had, that you lost your virginity to. Typically happens before you're 18. It's innocent, it's pure, but at the same time, it's usually unstable because you're a child. You're still growing up. You're still learning who you are as a person. You're still learning who the people around you are, even your partner, and all the Disney fairy tale stuff is inside of you. But as you experience things with this person, you tend to find out that that's not what it really is. They're usually the one that got away, that you will look back on with fond memories, and you remember all the good times, and usually have some level of regret there. And so that's where we're going to start today's chapter, my first great love. So this happened after the woman that I referenced in the previous videos. I was 16 at the time when me and this young lady got together, but in all honesty, I'd known her since I was, I think, 11 or 12 years old, and had liked her and always had a crush on her, and she had a crush on me. But for whatever reason, it just didn't work. I was too shy, and she was too shy as well, very inexperienced, and just, we were kids. This was, 28 years ago at this point, me being 40 now, 11, 12, so yeah. And it just didn't work out. And, I moved to the United States after leaving the Bahamas. I was over there for a few years, so we lost touch, and I moved back to the Bahamas, and that's where she and I reconnected after, again, the girl in the previous video broke my heart, oddly enough. So this, even though it was my first great love, it did not start out as such. To be honest, I wasn't even interested in really dating her like that. And it was my mother who actually convinced me after meeting her. It's like, oh my God, that girl is so nice, and she's so pleasant, and she's so beautiful, and she really likes you, and I think you should give her a chance. And in my brokenheartedness, still trying to heal, still trying to, become a better version, trying to just get over all of that, it was something I wasn't really looking into. I wasn't very much interested in that, but she liked me a lot. I wouldn't say she pursued me, but she made it easy for us to end up together. She was around, and she was caring and compassionate and considerate, and she was patient and eager and willing to please and to do things. And through that, I learned to love her. I really did. And my love for her, over the 2.5, 3 years that we were together, really, really grew to be something incredible. And, it started with simple things, like she's the first girl to ever buy me anything. Like I remember she bought me my first Clips album. And it's something that always makes me laugh when I think about it, because here I am 40 years old, and I'm still listening to the Clips and Pusha T and Malice to this day, because that shaped me so much, being that was the first album, like rap album, that anybody had ever really given me. And she did it as a gift, and it was just wonderful. And she shared wonderful birthdays with me, and we went to my prom together, and we went to her prom together, and they were magical. events. And like I said, it was pure and wonderful because while I did technically lose my virginity again when I was 11, and then with the girl that I was with prior to her, it's one of those things where those were just situations. What I experienced with her was what it should have been. It was, all of the things that the movies and the storybooks and the fairy tales had said about love and relationships and all that. She was a virgin, and I myself was very inexperienced. And, we went down that path together. We went down that path of love and feeling and, developing that connection with one another. And we truly just loved one another for who we were. And our relationship was really, really good for a long time. For, I'd say the first year and a half, 2 years, which doesn't sound like that much time. But keep in mind, we are 16, 17, 18 at this point, going through all these hormonal changes, going through all of these things in our lives. Graduating high school, figuring out what we're going to do with our life, realizing the economic stresses of the world, having our family members to support us, but also depend on us. Like, there was just a lot. There was a lot. And in spite of all of that, going to different schools, all that, luckily we were the same age and all of that. And I would say we were equally yoked in terms of attractiveness and personality and charisma and all that. We were just a really, really, really good match for one another. And of course, me being the man, I fucked that up. I messed that up. Once I graduated high school, I think I was 16 and a half, maybe going on 17. She was also the same age. I didn't want to stay on the island. There was nothing there for me. There was absolutely nothing there for me besides her and my family. And I know to say that there's nothing there and then say her and family is like, but I had no prospects. There would be no future. There was no room for growth, especially me being an American citizen. I could come back to the US or the States, as we would call it in the islands, and really develop a life for myself, really be able to start establishing myself. And so the plan was, I moved back over here when I turned 18, which I did. I was supposed to come over here, get a job, get myself settled, and then she would come over and join me in a year or so, and we could start our life together. We planned on getting married. We planned on having children. I wanted to be an artist and a chef. She wanted to be a nurse. And we had these goals and these plans, and for the most part, they were going well. So the very first time she came to visit me, I'll never forget. Oh my God, I was so excited to see her. I was just in love with her. And, I was monogamous. I wasn't cheating or anything like that. So it was nothing like that. I just was immature. But again, that first time she came over, it was beautiful. It was magical. It was wonderful. But it had been about 6 months since I had seen her. And that time had passed. And, I was like, damn, this is hard trying to be with someone. And again, I'm 18, 19. My hormones are going crazy, testosterone raging, seeing all of these beautiful women around me, where I worked and where I did my schooling and all of that. And it just got harder and harder and harder. And so I remember maybe 6 months after that, she and I had a talk, and she decided she couldn't move here to be with me because she had to stay in the Bahamas and help her family, it was a noble cause, right? And I'll never say I knocked her for it, I was mad at it or anything like that, but I will say it hurt me. I felt like she was choosing her family over our future. And we had all these plans. And granted, we were young kids, and who knows, maybe they would have worked, maybe they wouldn't have. But I just felt like she was, choosing her family, and that, it hurt me. And so I remember when she came over to visit the second time, and she actually came with my mother and my little sister, who still lived down there, and they all came up to visit me together. And I remember just being an asshole to her, man, just being a dick. And I've apologized to her since for my behavior in this time, but we got into this small petty argument, and I carried the shit so poorly, so immaturely. It's just so bad. And look, I'm not saying she was an angel and we didn't have issues and fights and problems, so this was not our first issue or anything like that, but it was still very fucked up how I handle it. And again, my mother was there, the one being the voice of reason, the one, telling me to talk to how much this girl loved me, because the time while I was gone, she wasn't out dealing with other men and chasing, partying and all that. She was at my house. She was literally growing up with my mom. My mother is teaching her how to cook, the things I like, and how to clean the way that I like, and how to be a good woman to me. My mother is laying the blueprint for my future wife, and my dumbass, young, immature, dumb, reckless, didn't understand that, didn't see that, and just kind of pushed that shit away. But I didn't know any of this until after the fact when me and my mother talked about it. But in that moment, my mom sat me down and was like, you're fucking up, man. What are you doing? Like, this girl came over here. She wants to be with you. She loves you. What's going on? And I'm still hurt because to me, yeah, you're here for a week, but then you're going to be gone for another 6 months. And so I broke my own heart. And then I broke her heart. I told her, I can't do this. I couldn't do it. I couldn't keep waiting. And there was no doubt in my mind that she was loyal and faithful and dedicated, but I couldn't put my life on hold waiting, because once she said she was going to stay to take care of her mom, unfortunately, I know her mother. I know their financial situation, and there was never going to be stable. And here we are, 20, let's just call it 20 years later. Mom is still unstable. And I don't say that to say like I was right, but I was right. And she and I could have started a life, but I was impatient. I didn't wait. And so I ended that, and I moved on with my life, and I started dating another woman that ended up being a complete fucking nightmare and ruining my life. And we'll get to that story. Not after this, because this is focused on the 3 great loves. So I'm going to go to my second one and then my last one, which happened over years. But I ruined my fucking life. Like, I really felt for a long time like I ruined my life by ending that relationship. And I always had regret. And I think I will always have regret, because there's always a part of me that's like, what if? What if she and I had stayed together? What if that? And don't get me wrong, I'm not sitting around thinking about that now. But I won't pretend like I haven't thought about it multiple times over the years. Especially because she and I are still fairly close. We're still, fairly good friends. There's nothing romantic there or anything like that. We're just very cordial with one another. But it was something that I messed up, and I have to own that. And so that's where the lesson in this comes in. The grass is not greener on the other side. The grass is greenest where you water it, where you put the effort in. So this is the message to men and women. Stop worrying about what's around the corner. Stop worrying about what could potentially be with somebody else. If you have someone good in your life, someone decent, someone honest, someone that genuinely cares about you as a person, that genuinely loves you, that wants the best for you, do not throw that person away over perceived, delusions of grandeur of what may come next or what may happen, because chances are it ain't going to go that way. And for any of you that are in my age group, 40 years old, 50, 30s, all that, you remember your first love. You remember things being good. Now, don't get me wrong. Not everybody is fortunate to have that situation. Some people have some horrible introductions to relationships, some horribly traumatic introductions to sexual experiences and all that. But if you are one of the lucky ones that did experience that, look back on that fondly. Remember the good times and try to learn and be better and not make the same mistakes. Because if you're still out here jumping from person to person to person, thinking that there's just this unlimited pool, this unlimited selection of people that are going to come into your life that are like that, you're fucking wrong. I'm 40 years old, and I've had 3 in 22 years. And to be fair, I met all 3 of them within the first 5 years of each other. From 16 to 21, I met all 3 of my first great loves, or my great loves in life. First 5 years. Most people are overlooking their partners. And I hate to say this, but especially women, you guys have this idea that every man can just be easily replaced, that there's always a better option coming around because you guys have so much choice with all the dating apps and the social media and the instant validation that's online and all the attention, especially sexual attention from men that are trying to get with you. You feel like you can just replace a man, but let me tell you something, you can't. You cannot. A man that genuinely loves you, that genuinely cares for you, that genuinely wants to see you win, that wants nothing but the best for you, that is rare. Most men are looking to take. They want your body, they want to experience you, and then they want to move on to the next. And the same vice versa for men. Men, if you have a woman that is good, that is loyal, that is down for you, that respects you and honors you and treats you like a man, that is agreeable and fun, and you genuinely like them, do not go chasing skirts. Do not go chasing tail, because your dick will lead you into some very, very precarious situations, and you can very quickly lose the person that loves you most, that you should be with, chasing phantoms of what you think is out there. So please, 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 make sure. All right. So sorry, just going over this, making sure I don't miss anything. Value what you have. Yep. All that good stuff. Now, with that, because, we're older now, and if you've already missed your first great love or your second great love or even your third great love, it's very easy to become disillusioned and lose hope in the future and, potential for what may come later on in life. But I think we have to start looking at people for more than the sum of their parts. Everybody has their checklist, and then they have their deal breakers and all that, and you will learn as you get older, those things shift. So my lesson to the younger men and women, do not be so quick to throw away someone just because they don't have every single trait that you want. There is no perfect person out there. Point blank, period. No one is perfect, yourself included. You're not a 10. You're not amazing and wonderful and you fucking walk on water and your shit don't stink. You're a human being just like everybody else. And in dealing with other human beings, that is a very, very hard thing to overcome. Exceptionally hard, in fact. This is why most people are single and alone, because relationships are hard. You have to find peace within yourself and be able to share who you are in your totality with another person and hope they accept you. And then vice versa. You have to be able to take on everything that they are. And that's the good, bad, ugly, and other. It's not going to be sunshine and rainbows all the time. And if you think that that's what a relationship is supposed to be, you are doomed to fail. No relationship is exciting all the time. No relationship is fun all the time. No relationship is rainbows and butterflies and sunshine and happiness. That is a delusion. Real relationships are hard work. So if you're lucky enough to have not found your first great love, or you're somewhere on the spectrum, or even if your first 3, you can still learn and be better going forward. You can still make it work with the person that wants to work with you. How does that benefit you as a person? Well, you won't be fucking alone. Everybody thinks that it's so easy to just go through life and be alone. Now, I'll just have my cats, or I'll just have my dogs, or for men, I'll just have my homie and whatever. Yeah, no. A lonely life is a miserable life. It's a life of depression and anxiety and solitude and heartbreak and no one to depend on. And as we get older, we break down emotionally, mentally, physically. And if you don't have a partner there to help hold you together and to give you purpose in helping to hold them together, if you're not willing to come together as a group, as a collective, for the greater good for yourself and your partner, and maybe your potential children and the community that might come from that, then you've already lost. You have to be willing to put in the work. So that's my first true lesson in this. Do not walk away when things get hard. Now, of course, if your spouse is cheating on you or emotionally, physically, mentally abusing you, if they're beating on you and disrespectful, yeah, of course, get the fuck out of that relationship. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about, for the most part, 80-20, the Pareto principle is something you will hear consistently on this channel. That 80-20, if you have 80% good qualities in your partner, but maybe they're not that good with money, or maybe they like to watch porn, or maybe they're not the healthiest, or maybe they don't work out, whatever it is, and it could be multiple things. I'm not saying they're only going to have one thing wrong, and if they have two things wrong, then you leave. No, you have to accept people where they're at, just like you would hope they accept you where you're at, and then you have to work together to be better as a group. If he sucks at going to the gym and you don't, well, motivate that man. Hey, let's go to the gym, and when we get back, I'm gonna suck the skin off that thing. If she's bad with money, baby, you gotta chill on that spending. But if you do this, at month 3, I'm gonna get you that Louis bag that you want. Whatever it is, whatever compromise, whatever motivations you need to give each other, we need to find a way to come together again, because we're segmenting and destroying ourselves and our community and our relationships because we're looking for perfect. And there is no such thing as perfect. There are no such thing as soulmates. That shit is a myth. You fall in love with who is in proximity to you, and there are 8 billion people on this planet right now. Not counting the billions that have died before us and the billions that will be born after us. There is no such thing as a soulmate. There is only the person that is willing to get it out the mud with you. And I'm not even talking about just financially. I'm talking about from a relationship standpoint. Now, what does that do if we can bring that together? Well, one, it's going to make us happier and healthier. Every study that's out there shows that men and women live longer, happier, healthier lives when they're surrounded by loved ones and family. Every study shows that a child that is raised in a 2-parent household overwhelmingly has better statistics and odds of becoming a successful, productive member of society. And just think about how much love you will experience growing old with your partner, watching your children come up, them having their children because of the example that you set, because of the example that you gave them and what a healthy relationship looks like. For them to do that with their partner and raise their children, and their children have children, and now you have grandchildren and great-grandchildren. And you get to leave behind a legacy, and you have all the pictures and all the memories and all the experiences. And so when life truly gets hard, you're not alone. You're not alone. That's what I'm trying to combat here, because too many of our people are alone, men and women alike. The online spaces love to talk about this men's loneliness epidemic. Well, guess what? There's a women's loneliness epidemic as well. And you guys can deny it and pretend, oh, I'm happy being single and alone, and get my back blown up by random strangers and drinking myself numb and all that. Or guys, telling themselves, well, I don't need a woman. I can just jerk off, or I can just go get a pro or whatever. Yeah, that shit is surface level. And if you look at yourself in the mirror, deep into the soles of your eyes, you know that shit is false. We need each other. We need people. The community needs that. So if you have been, again, lucky enough to find your first love, if you're still with that person, do everything in your power. Your second, your third great love, wherever you are on that, if you're able to find that person, do the work. Do the work. Do not just give up on it. Do not just let it fall apart. Because the chances of you going out there and finding someone greater, someone better, that actually works with you, stays with you long term and all that, it gets slimmer and slimmer the older we get. It gets harder and harder to connect and build that relationship. So that's it for today. I know I was saying I was going to do, 4 videos for one story, but again, after the first videos, didn't like how they went, just was kind of rambling. I think I'm going to try to make them a little bit more tight, concise, compile everything into one, and then we'll go from there. But hey, again, if you enjoyed the content, if you took anything from this, if there's anybody that you think may, here we go with Ryan Terabad, if you think that there's anyone that may benefit from this video and this story, please share. As always, like, comment, subscribe, and I'll catch you on the next one.